On June 4, 1942, the Battle of Midway began with a Japanese aerial assault on Midway Island, aimed at destroying the U.S. base there. Thanks to the United States' successful decryption of Japanese communications, they were aware of the attack plans. Under the command of Admiral Chester Nimitz, American aircraft carriers launched their planes to strike the Japanese fleet. In critical moments, American planes targeted 4 Japanese carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, sinking 3 of them by midday. Despite a Japanese counterattack, American forces successfully sank the 4th carrier, Hiryu. This major U.S. victory shifted the balance of the war in the Pacific, crippling Japan's offensive capabilities. After the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941, Japan began planning a decisive naval battle to destroy the U.S. fleet and establish its dominance in the Pacific. The goal was to eliminate American naval power, paving the way for Japan to solidify control over the Pacific region and its resources. This plan culminated in the Battle of Midway, where Japan aimed to lure the U.S. Navy into a trap and deliver a crushing blow. However, the U.S. had already decoded Japanese communications, giving them the upper hand and ultimately leading to a pivotal American victory. The Japanese deception plan aimed to divert American attention by sending a small naval force to the Aleutian Islands, part of Alaska, one day before the main battle. The expectation was that the U.S. fleet would move to protect the Aleutians, drawing them away from Midway Island. Meanwhile, 4 Japanese aircraft carriers, 2 battleships, and over 300 aircraft would launch an assault on Midway. Following the bombardment, more than 5,000 Japanese soldiers were to be deployed to capture the island. However, the U.S. Navy, aware of Japan's true intentions thanks to intercepted communications, was prepared for the real attack on Midway, turning the tide of the battle. The advance of the Japanese forces was detected by a reconnaissance plane approximately 350 kilometers southwest of Midway. In response, 9 American bombers were launched in a failed attempt to intercept the Japanese carriers. Despite this early engagement not succeeding, it signaled the beginning of the Battle of Midway and gave the U.S. forces a clearer idea of the approaching Japanese fleet, allowing them to prepare for the decisive confrontation that followed. American aircraft carriers, under the command of Admiral Chester Nimitz, launched their planes to strike the Japanese fleet during the Battle of Midway. The American aircraft targeted 4 Japanese carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, using bombs and torpedoes. Despite fierce Japanese resistance, American forces succeeded in sinking 3 of the carriers by midday. The Japanese managed to inflict damage on the American carrier USS Yorktown in response. Later, American forces sank the 4th Japanese carrier, Hiryu, leading to the collapse of the Japanese fleet and its loss of combat capability. This decisive victory marked a turning point in the war.